Back at the naturopath. Thanks for coming back. It's 2020. It's a whole new year, and I'm glad to see that you're back looking at my videos again. Subscribe if you're not one of those people. There's plenty more to come. Now, we're doing a series on food sensitivities, basically. No? So meaning that you're sensitive to food. But now let's explain a little bit, or break it down. Food allergies, okay? Food sensitivities, food intolerances. What do all these words mean? Why do we all get them all confused? Everybody gets them confused. Well, there's no confusion. It's simple. There's two groups. You've got a group, basically means that you're going to react to food because of an immune-based response, or you're going to react to food which is a non-immune-based response. But many people still get it mixed up. They still seem to get it mixed up. All right. So allergies can encompass an IgE or type 1 response. And if you look at Wikipedia, they're not even interested in discussing the IgG4. They say it's irrelevant. The delayed antibody. They say that this delayed antibody can also be elevated this marker in healthy people. Well, come on, Wikipedia. I've seen elevated antibodies in even people like me of IgE that are elevated. So, you know, immune reaction determination of food is not 150% exact like cast in stone science. So when you get a test result back, it's easily for you to look at it and get all worried and confused. In fact, you can do a food allergy test every week for a whole year, and you can have a different response each week. How's that really confusing? All right. So nothing's certain except death and taxes. I mean, that's what I've been told, isn't it? So no allergy test is certain either. Don't forget it. All right. And that will really get you confused then. So the food allergy, a type 1 or IgE, immediate, or an IgG delayed response. Then you've got the food intolerance, which means it's usually an enzyme, a lack of an enzyme, digestive enzyme, excuse me, insufficient enzyme, or it can be pharmaceutical medication, or it can be, as I mentioned previous, it can be sulfites or benzoates or vasoactive amines or salicylates. There can be something in that food that's creating a problem with you. We'll do a salicylates and amines. We'll do all those videos at another stage. Otherwise, I'll be here all day, and I've got my beekeeping to do this afternoon. So what's the difference? Well, when you eat a food, usually if it's a food allergy, usually, not always, you'll know within about an hour that you've got a problem with that food. All right? You'll know within an hour, usually pretty quick. The delayed response, or IgG4, can take 24 or even 72 hours, 3 days, for it to slowly come up. It can confuse people. I was in the yard before. I wonder if I've been breathing in some stuff. There's lots of pollen and flowers around at the moment. So many people get reactions and are completely blissfully unaware that they have a reaction to food. They'll pass it off as something else. The intolerances, however, are slightly different from reactions. So it can be much more difficult and subtle to pick that up. So just remember that. I'll explain it one more time. The allergies are immune reaction. Okay, you eat a food, the immune system reacts to it. The intolerance is you eat a food and you're lacking the power to break the food down sufficiently. So the intolerance signs, I find, are generally more bloating, more gas, more constipation or diarrhea, more subtle, and also a little bit more away from the food, whereas the food allergy tends to be quicker, faster, up body. Hands, eyes, nose, tongue, palate, anywhere in this area can be affected with a type 1 response. But also a little bit down here, you can get cramping pain, you can get diarrhea and things like that. But generally you'll tweak after a while. You'll know, that's when I had XYZ food. And then what you want to do, if you've got this inkling or a slight feeling that a food could be a problem, my advice is to wait several days, don't eat that food at all, and then eat that food 2 or 3 times small amounts on that day, and just be aware again of signs and symptoms. And again, if you get a reaction, park that food, come back again in a week and do it again. So after 2 or 3 times, if you're reacting, you know then it's a food allergy. Right? Particularly if you eat that food separate from other foods, you'll soon pick up on that key symptom. The intolerance is not so easy. Generally, I find intolerances occur after emotional stress, or after a period of like a relationship breakup or a bankruptcy, or son went to prison. Something big happened to that person, and then look, over time, weeks or months, for signs of intolerance building up. Now, why did that happen? Well, the person got stressed out, okay? They got really stressed. They started to emotionally really regurgitate and go over stuff. And guess what it was doing? Affecting their autonomic nervous system, affecting their stomach and their small intestine. So the output for enzymes decreased and they got bloating, they got gas, they felt sick. So careful questioning around that event. So when I know someone's got an intolerance or feel it, I usually start probing into their relationships with people that are key to them, and up it comes. Poof. Oh yeah, that creep of a husband, I caught that guy in bed with my next door neighbor. I got rid of him. Or, it could be, oh, my son, yes, he got caught with methamphetamine. He's been put away for 2 years, Like these stories come up. These are the stories I routinely hear from people. It's not very nice, but I mean, we live in the real world, Horrific things, emotional things, awful things, but even nice things. You could even win the lotto, like, win $50 million, and then a month later have very poor stomach function because it's a high stress. So I always look for the emotional stress point, touch points in that person's life, and invariably I find them. So that's my take on intolerances. But that's the difference we're talking about. Immune, non-immune, and the sensitivities encompasses the whole lot, basically. Here's an interesting chart out of Candida Crusher to give you a bit of a, if you might want to, I don't know how to do this, so I hold it like that, yeah. Bring it in a bit. You might just want to freeze that camera and have a look at that chart there. You can see the non-toxic, the psychological, and the toxic food poisoning. Then you'll see here on the side here, we've got the enzymatic deficiency, the compounds. So that's that's 351 out of Candida Crusher. You can read my article there on food intolerances versus food allergy. All right? But the thing is, if you've got the problem, we've got to fix it. All right? We've got to work out what it is and how we're going to fix it. And we're going to talk more about that in a minute. So stay tuned. Thanks for tuning in.